This is something that we've done for a long, long time. It's just procurement. We have a request and then we have responses. And one of those responses is selected. Well, the request is simply called an invitation to tender. And the main concept here is a set of exchange information requirements. And what goes into that are organizational, project, and asset requirements that are summarized in a way that a team can respond to. And the response is really, it's called a tender response. And there are multiple tender responses. And they are formulated from BIM execution plan, which is a pre-appointment plan answering the questions from the tender, risk and mobilization planning, risk register and mobilization planning, as we just talked about. So there's the templates that we've talked through in the first session that apply to this. And all of those are contained within the Planoly platform to make it easier so that we can keep everything in the same place and simply select the right party. What we're going to go through in this next part is a bit more about the tools that we can use to implement the workflow. So we've talked about what's in the templates, and we've talked about the fact that we have a workflow, but how do we use tools in order to make that workflow easier? Sometimes we can kick things off with a document. So sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of projects start with a BIM execution plan rather than an exchange information requirement. When we look at this in a Ruby Goldberg type machine, when we start to add maybe the scope in an Excel or a spreadsheet type form, and then we start to put different PDFs out for tender, maybe they're sent via email or using SharePoint or some kind of website, and then the teams are compiling responses and understanding their resource capability, capacity, and being able to then evaluate and go to contract. There are lots of different ways of doing this, and there are some fantastic tools out there to do it. Our question is this the right management set? Is this the BIM Manager's Toolkit for following this workflow? We didn't think so, or we thought it was a bit more difficult than it should be. So we started to, a while ago, look at how we could simplify this. And looking at simplifying the ISO 19650 workflow with a platform, right now we'll take you through 8 steps in the tender workflow to make it more simple. We'll start with the templates, creating requirements and completing details for the project before we would then add prospective teams. As we add the prospective teams, they can respond and have a collaborative tendering workflow before we transition to the appointment, which is much more detailed, and we'll get into that in the next webinar. First